Hi, ladies. Nice to see you.
Kavod Harav, how are you?
Baruch Hashem. Good evening, both of you. Hi. Okay, so we'll get started. I'm just texting my friend here. How are you, Chuck?
Baruch Hashem, yourself, Rabbi?
Thank God. Okay, let's get started. So we're doing bet. And that includes also tour. Actually, we did the tour, maybe.
Kavod Harav, we did Beit Yosef bet and Shulchan Aruch bet.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong place. I can already see that. 1 second. Okay, we're getting closer. Getting closer. Yes, I think we're in Dalit, right? Is that correct?
I think so too.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So let's see the tour first. I think we read the tour, so I'm just going to read the Beit Yosef. It says like this.
I think we did the tour, yes.
Okay, good. So it says, it says Rabbi Yochanan, if you want to accept complete yoke of heaven, right, all that stuff, etc. So it says Ula, if you read Kriyat Shema without Tefillin, right, that old thing over there, and Ad Sababa. Okay, so that's the quote from the tour, but it says like this: Perek Sheni de Brachot. It's over there in the second perek of Brachot. Yudal and Tet Vav. Peresh Rashi. Rashi explains there. Keilu made edu cheker be'atzmo. It's like a person who reads Kriyat Shema without Tefillin. It's like he's testifying falsely about himself. He explains that Lishna Me'alia. So it says it means like it's a euphemism. That's what he's trying to say, right? So what does that mean? It doesn't mean about himself. It means about God. So what does that mean? That he's saying it but not doing it. Right? So it's like just a lip service, as they say, right? It doesn't really mean it. Not genuine. That's what it means to say. It's considered like he brought olah without a meal offering. The verse obligates him to bring it together also with a meal offering. As it says in Bamidbar, so that's also what it means, right? That if he reads it this way, he's not really finishing the mitzvah. He's not doing it all the way. He's not going all the way with the mitzvah.
Rabbi, this sounds very familiar. We didn't read this yesterday.
Yeah, we did the tour.
That's
yeah. So he's explaining that now. So it says, So it says that's the wine which is poured out on the altar after the olah. And the sacrifice, but it says in the pasuk, that you have to bring also the libations with the sacrifices. So it says it really also could have said that it's like bringing olah without a meal offering. And also the libation as well. That even ula requires nesachim libations. In addition, the kara is using the language of the pasuk of the verse. Nakat ula is using that. Umincha zebach nesachim. So when it says mincha, it's talking about it's referring to the libations actually. Rabbeinu Yonah says Rabbeinu Yonah katav the perusha nachon. So he says the proper explanation is like this. Kachu. This is the way it goes. The ula svirale that ula holds the kiman dehava kore ukshartam leot al yadecha. Since it reads that you should tie them on your hands, it should be on between your eyes. And since he doesn't put them, he's testifying falsely about himself. Because whatever he says is not the truth. He's not actually fulfilling what he says. And even though he did the mitzvot, even though he did the mitzvot, that what does that mean? He also fulfilled the mitzvah of Kriyat Shema. But nevertheless, he did a sin though, mitzad acher, from a different side, different perspective, because he testified falsely about himself. Okay, but Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan holds that even the mitzvah is not complete. Right? He didn't really accept the yoke of heaven like that. So it's like somebody who brings a Thanksgiving offering without the meal offering. Since he's the reading Kriyat Shema without accepting the yoke of heaven. Obviously, by the way, I want to tell you, right? It doesn't apply to ladies, all this stuff. I just want to tell you, right? So don't feel guilty about this. Whatever. This is for men, really, this whole thing, right? So don't feel guilty about not putting tefillin. Right, the ladies. It says, so it says the one who wants to come or malchut shamayim, the one who really wants to accept the yoke of heaven, shlema, completely, right? The katab ta'am dabar. He wrote the reason. Tefillin sheberosh. So he says the reason is because when it comes to the tefillin of the head, Adam mishabed leboreh, that he subjugates himself to the Creator, Yitbarach, haneshama shehi b'moach, the neshama which is in the brain. In other words, the epicenter of the neshama, where it dwells the most, is the brain. With tefillin shebezroa Adam shemeshabed gufo, and also the tefillin which is wearing on the arm, he subjugates his body. Therefore, it says tziva l'shum ota. Can I get halev? Therefore, he commanded you to put it next to the heart. Because that's the essence of the lust and desire. It comes from there, from the heart. So this is how he's going to explain. He's going to remember the Creator like that. And he will reduce his pleasure. His pleasures. In other words, he won't go too crazy with physical pleasures. He won't go overboard with that. So it says when it comes to the mezuzah, he's subjugating his wealth. But he says they didn't mention the mezuzah because the mitzvah is in a different time frame altogether. So it says when you're reading Kriyat Shema and praying, that you're subjugating your soul and body, that's complete yoke of heaven. Adkan, that's the end of it, right? He writes further, Since it says also about prayers, it implies שגם בתפילה צריך שיתפלל ותפילין בראשו. That it implies that you have to also pray with tefillin on your head. The prayer as well, not only Kriyat Shema. Okay, very good. We're done with that. Let's see Shulchan Aruch. This one we already did. Okay, looks like I'll bring it up. Yes, okay. I'm in the wrong place. 1 second. I apologize. Okay. It says Sharich Shiu Tefillin Allah B'Shar Kriyat Shema Utfilah. You have to have tefillin on you when you say Kriyat Shema and Tefillah, right? That's the idea. At least that much you should do. And even though nowadays we don't wear tefillin all day, but at least that much you should do. That's the minimum. Okay, very good. That's that. And ladies, they're absolved from all these mitzvot, right? They're absolved from tefillin, they're absolved from tzitzit, and they're absolved also from Kriyat Shema. So it's all optional for them, all these things.
Rabbi, didn't we say Shema is obligatory before?
Not really, it's just a custom, just a minhag.
Uh-huh. I
Yeah.
think the women are supposed to work one of the 3 tefillot. They do the short one,
They
right?
do want tefillah, and that's an obligation, but the Shema is only a minhag, They read the first paragraph
Because it's time bound.
as a
That's
custom,
all.
But at night, as I told you, you gotta read all 3 paragraphs. That's already something else, because that you're doing for protection. It's not for the mitzvah.
Mm-hmm.
Protect yourself from all kinds of strange dreams, right? All kinds of things, right? Whatever. Okay. All right, good. So let's go to Hey.
Rabbi, can I ask a quick question about that?
Sure.
I know some don't say the evening Shema. They say we come out of the obligation by doing the night Shema. Is that
I'm
true?
sorry, what was that again?
I know some, especially on Shabbat, when we do the Marif Haravit early, they say like during the summertime, they say we'll do the night Shema, the bedtime Shema, and that way
Right.
we cover the evening Shema as well.
So in other words, you're saying because they said it too early.
Right. They don't say it
because
again
sometimes,
after.
The
Like-
truth is that some poskim hold that you fulfilled your obligation when you said it early. So
Oh,
what does that mean? You know, like a person who's serious doesn't rely on that. But Amaretz, you know, Amaretzot, they do rely on that. You know what I mean? The shish kebab guys, you know, they rely on this.
no, but what about the night Shema? Can you come out of the obligation of the evening Shema by saying the night Shema? I know it's a different, it's for
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But you know, the problem is you're waiting too long. You shouldn't wait that long. You know, you should do it early as possible. So, but what I'm saying is that the Rosh says they fulfill the obligation when they say it early.
interesting.
Even
Because
though we don't pass like
accept
that,
it.
you know, like the Chatchila, you know. But you know, the Amaratzot, you know, for them it's enough, you know. What can I tell you, you know?
Rabbi, but if
So-
we accepting, if for us it's already evening, if if we do out of it, right? So
Yeah.
if we're accepting it, that means the Shema is valid too, right?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
So if we accepted the evening earlier than it is, right? Because
Yeah.
I think you mentioned you cannot do any of the mitzvot that you were supposed to
Yes,
do
yes.
after mincha before Aravit, right? So technically, if we're not able to do any other mitzvot because we said it's already evening, even though it's not, is that why the Rosh holds the Shema is valid?
You know, well, you know, I mean, the truth is that some machloket in the Gemara Masechet Brachot between Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim.
Mhm.
According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's already night after Plaga Mincha, you know. So therefore, you can do already there the Kriyat Shema according to him. You know what I mean? So therefore, you know, you're fulfilling your obligation according to Rabbi Yehuda.
Is that Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi?
No, different. Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai.
Hmm. Wrong Rabbi Yehuda.
I'm sorry.
Wrong Rabbi Yehuda.
Yeah, they're all good. They're all good people. So I wouldn't mind meeting any one of them. So anyway, right, as they say, right, that's the way it is. So yeah, I mean, you know, but a person who's, you know, more medakdek, he's more careful. What he should do is repeat the Kriyat Shema before he eats, you know, dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That would be the proper thing to do.
Don't delay the mitzvah either, right?
Exactly.
That time Shema.
Exactly. Before dinner, you should try to say it. What do you call it?
Kavod,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Kavod Harav. And what about Shema Halamita?
Yeah, so with that, yeah, what about it? What's the question?
The question is, when is the best time to say it? Can we say it as early as Shkia or just right before going to bed?
So there's different opinions about that. You know, according to the simple meaning, you're supposed to say it before you go to bed.
Okay.
The simple meaning is like that. But according to Kabbalah, you're supposed to say it before midnight.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like, you know, depending on the season, right? Seasonal.
Chatzot, no? Before Chatzot.
Yeah, Chatzot, exactly. It's a seasonal thing, you know. So nowadays over here in New York, it's about 12 o'clock, 12:10. So that means you should say Kriyat Shema about 11:30. You know, that would be the best time to say.
Okay.
11:30 to 12.
Thank you very much.
But if you have like a calendar, you know, which works in your area, so you should look when midnight is in your area.
I printed out, yes.
Beautiful. Okay, so if you have that, you're using that chart, right? That you're going to use that.
Yes.
Yes, that's the way you're going to do it. So
I
the
use it
best
for-
thing to do is to say like within a half hour before Chatzot.
Okay. I use that chart for Shabbat too, because I have no access to that.
Oh, I see. Okay, interesting.
I printed the charts, no?
I see. Okay, great. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Whatever works for you.
Thank you.
All right, beautiful. So that's that. So what that does is, you know, it protects you, you know, there's protection at night. And that's the whole thing, you know.
Rabbi, are you allowed to speak afterwards?
it's like a chumrah, some people don't speak, whatever. It's like more of a chumrah. It's not really according to halacha so much.
Okay.
But honestly, when it comes to the Ashkenazim, their custom is like this, okay? If you really want to know.
Mm.
They say Kriyat Shema before they go to bed. And then they try not to talk at all. That's the way they do it. Until they fall asleep. So what they do is, they just keep like repeating it, like a few times until they fall asleep. A lot of Ashkenazim, this is the custom of the Ashkenazim, But according to Kabbalah, as we said, right, that's not the way to do it. So whatever, right, to each one his own, whatever. To
Yeah.
each his own.
Well, there are no shalom bite issues there.
I'm sorry.
As long as it doesn't touch any shalom bite issues.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Don't talk to me.
Right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'll tell you something. I personally, I think you shouldn't be fanatic with it. But the Ashkenazim are very strong about that. They don't. That's not our custom, really. So much.
Kabul Haraf, but I thought that it was that you don't speak after reciting Hamapil, right?
Yeah, which is the same thing, by the way, because you're doing it at the same time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? In other words, you're saying Kamapil and Kriyat Shema at the same time before you go to bed.
Okay, yes.
So it's really the same thing, Once you said those two things, then you're right. Yeah.
Yes.
But the truth is, according to halakha, you're allowed to talk, especially if you have a need for it.
Okay.
You have a need to talk, no problem. To your wife or to your whatever, maybe your children, whatever, right? Whatever it may be. Or to your boss, right? Whatever. Whatever it may be. Okay. So let's go on. So it says, good. Let's go on. So we'll do now two Bet Yosef, right? In hey. Right. So yeah, we have to do the tour here. We didn't read this tour yet. It's like out of order a little bit. Yeah, so it says like this. So the blessing you make when you place the tzitzit, the tefillin, is right. First, you put the arm. You bless this blessing, right? So what's the blessing? Lehaniach tefillin. Then you put the head. And you bless there. Right? That's the minhag of the Ashkenazim. They do two blessings. We Sfaradim, we only do one. We just do lehaniach tefillin. Look what it says, right? Even though the Rif paskins, you shouldn't bless on both of them. Only one blessing, that's all. Unless you make some kind of a interruption between them, with talking or whatever. Then you will bless on the head, al mitzvah tefillin. And also Rashi wrote like that as well. And also many authors, right? Books, whatever. But he says the Rosh, my father, said we should do two blessings. Right? The At below have sick without any interruption. If he interrupted with the speech, then you come back and you bless Shel Rosh, you bless on the if you interrupted with speech, you bless on the head, leaniach. V'gam al mitzvot tefillin, and also al mitzvot tefillin. And you bless on it the time that you start, leanicham, to put them, ad shah shem me'adkan, until you tighten it. And also in your arm. Don't make any interruption between them. The daber, to talk. Even to answer amen, you're not allowed to do that. Yesh lema, even this, to kaddish. Mevorach kedusha, right, Rabbi? Mevorach kedusha, ve'im diber averahi. So if he spoke at that time, it's a sin. He has a sin. Biado, but tzarich lachazor u'barech kedefishit. So you have to come back and bless again, as we mentioned, right? So we have here two basic opinions, right? One is that according to the Rif and most of the Rishonim, you're supposed to bless only one blessing, lihaniach, on both of them. And according to the Rosh, you're supposed to do both, bless both, lihaniach on the arm and right, al mitzvot tefillin on the head.
Rabbi, but the Rif also says if you make an interruption, you have to do
right.
On the
But the Rosh says like this: if you made an interruption, you have to do two blessings for the head. You have to do both. You know what I mean? Yeah, interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are the opinions that we have here. So let's go back to Bet Yosef. So you bless, right? Then you put the head. That's what the Torah says. It's over there in the Gemara. Amar Rav Chasda says Rav Chasda, Sach ben tefillah letefillah. If he spoke between one and the other, Choser umbarech, he's got to bless again. Sach in. So Gemara says if he spoke, yes. Lo sach lo. If he didn't speak, no. But didn't this rabbi send Mishmed Rabbi Yochanan, name Rabbi Yochanan, al tefillah shel yad, that you will come to yad shel yad, omer asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav, you say asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'aniach tefillin, ve'al tefillah shel rosh, omer asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al mitzvot tefillin. You say like that.
I'm sorry, Rabbi, I lost it. What about Rav Huna? Or he says that you should do the separate blessing for the Rosh?
Right, exactly. So we see that there's two different opinions in the Talmud as well. Right? We have both opinions there.
Mm-hmm.
They say both these rabbis. Lo sach mevarech echad. If he didn't talk, bless one blessing. Sach, if he's talked, mevarech shtaim, then he's got to bless two. Rashi explains sach mevarech shtaim. If he spoke, he blessed two blessings. Like Rav Chia sent, remember? Lo sach, but if he didn't talk, In mevarech ela al shel yad. Then he only says blessing of the hand. Bilvad. V'chen yireh shehu dat arif. And the Rif also says like that. V'chen pasak Rambam. So all these Rishonim agree, right, with the Rif, basically. Right, that you only make one
Rambam
blessing.
says.
I'm sorry?
Even the Rambam says you have to, if you spoke, you have to do a second blessing on the Rosh.
Yeah, that everybody agrees with that. Yeah, of course.
Oh, I
Nobody
see.
argues with that.
Mhm. So we'll do the Sephardi also do like if you spoke, you say al tefillin for the Rosh
Al mitzvah tefillin, right?
al mitzvah.
But we don't
So-
speak. That's the whole thing, right? So we never do that.
Yeah, we don't. But if accidentally that
Right,
happens,
accidentally, exactly.
Mhm.
Okay. But Tosfot Ketava Rabbi Tam Piresh. But Tosfot says Rabbi Tam explains. Lo sach mevarech echad. He says, right, if he didn't talk, he blesses one al shel rosh, one on the head. Al mitzvah tefillin, he blesses blessing. Sach, but if he did talk, mevarech time, he has to do two. Al shel rosh v'tzarich lechazor levarech leaniach. So according to Rabbi Tam, he's got to do two if he talked, two more. So what does that mean? He's like the Rosh, right? The Rosh and Rabbi Tam is one opinion.
Mhm.
It also says like this in Shimush Rabbah, which is a midrash, right, on Tefillin. The Katav Samag says Samag shematza bilamdenu is right found this book Kedivra Rabbi Tam, but look Kedivra Mfarshim, not like these other opinions. Lo sach mevarech echad. If he didn't talk, he blesses one. Klomar yotzem birchat shevarech al shel yad. That means he fulfills the obligation with the one he did on the hand. Even though there is Yerushalayim. Even though there is in Yerushalmi, it says in Yerushalmi, Talmud Shelanu, Ikar. But it says, our Talmud is the Ikar, is the Halacha. We don't pass like the Yerushalmi. So it's a big machloket, right? It's a whole big machloket here. And going back to the Talmud, right? This whole thing.
Bavli and Yerushalmi.
Right. And by the way, it also goes into the Kabbalah. According to Kabbalah, the Rif and the Rambam, they're right. You're not supposed to bless twice.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
That's what we do, right?
absolutely. Yeah. Okay, good. So that's the story. And then it goes on. V'chen katav Rosh. All the Rosh, the Rosh, Kedivra Rabbeinu Tam. He passed Kazak Rabbeinu Tam. Right, so he says, the Kedivra Rabbeinu Tam, it's logical like him. Sheikar Tikkun Brachot. So he says, why? Because the main Tikkun, the rectification of the blessings, Kachaita, this was the way it was. B'tchilat Anachata, in the beginning of placing the Tefillin. Tiknu levarech leaniach. First they decreed to bless placing the aniach. The kai nami al shel rosh, and also applies to the head as well. K'shemaniach shel rosh, when he puts the head, mevarech al mitzvah, he blesses al mitzvah. Shezuhi gamar mitzvah. That's the end of the mitzvah. He says. Therefore, he says, im sach ve'siach dato, if he spoke, and he diverted his mind, therefore he has to bless also the aniach as well. Also, if he's putting only the shel rosh, only, he has to bless two there. So he says that most of the Gaonim wrote like that. So he writes that when his childhood, he used to do one blessing. Since the rabbis argue with him, Tov Yoter, it's better. The brachot enam yakvot, because the blessings don't hold back the mitzvah, right? They don't prevent the mitzvah, so there's really no problem. It's better than doing bracha blessing in vain. Ad shelamad menachot. until he
Wait.
learned the Menachot, the Gemara Menachot. When he read lo lefum rihata, so it would seem to him like that. What the Gemara sheyesh levarech shtek berachot. In the Gemara, it implies that you have to need 2 blessings. V'chen haya noheg Aram. Also, the Ram was like this, right? So you see, it's a big machloket, right? It's huge machloket. The Agur Katav says the Agur bezeh leshano. That's the language. V'ani amechaber matzati. So it says I found beSefer Zohar. Here we go, Zohar, right? Kabbalah. The Parashat Pinchas. Mama the Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. It says Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Then levarech al shnehem. You shouldn't bless on both of them, right? As you said, right? According to Kabbalah, you shouldn't bless on both of them. Ela bracha echad, just one blessing altogether. V'zeh leshono. That's the language of the Amar Rabbi Shimon. It says Rabbi Shimon, Tefillin enan al inun al mocha lekabel zachor, Tefillin the droa semala al libeh. So he says the head, we put the head on the tefillin of the head because of the word zachor, and the tefillin of the arm, the left arm on his heart, the kabel shamor, corresponding to the word shamor. Uma zachor b'shamor b'dibur echad. Just like these 2 words came in was one when Hashem said them, He said them in one word. Here also one blessing for both of them. Okay. ולא צריך להפרשה בשעה גם בין דא לדא. So it says you don't have to separate by just waiting between this and that. כמעט דוקמו, just like they said. ואני תמהני, so I'm wondering, על הנר Rav Rebbe Cholkim al Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Look what he says, right? He says, I'm wondering, how do these rabbis have the audacity to argue with Rabbi Shimon? How do they have the audacity to do something like that?
I didn't see it.
Oh, it's hard to say that. I mean, you know what? They didn't know what Rabbi Shimon said, right? How can that be? Interesting. Let's see.
Is it but did they all of them saw the Zohar, like the Rosh?
Yeah, well, that's a different issue. But even if they didn't see the Zohar, they probably knew what Rabbi Shimon held regarding tefillin.
Oh, so this is not from the
It's a
Zohar.
very, it's a very, something very, very common. Very, Let's see where it goes. So it says, "Im haya shadu ma'amar zeh." So this is exactly what he says, right? If they knew that Rabbi Shimon said this, how is it that they argued with him? So he says, in any case, he says, the minhag is to do 2, right? So he must have been Ashkenazi, this rabbi. Okay, whatever, right? So that's the whole story there. Look what Maran says, right? Look at this. So he says, I don't know why he's wondering so much about this din than any other dinim. That we find that Rabbi Shimon said in the Zohar, Hefech, you must connect the Talmudah, the opposite of what it says in the Talmud. So we find that all the time. In other words, what's the big surprise? Right? There's many machlokot between the Talmud and the Zohar.
How could that be, Rabbi?
I'm sorry?
How can this be if this is the oral law that was transmitted down from Moshe, from Sinai, all and then Zohar overwrites it completely.
No, you're talking about overriding. There's nothing to override here. There's 2 different opinions. That's all.
You can't fulfill them both, though.
Okay, so then the halacha is like one of them. You know what I mean? But Rabbi Shimon had his own opinions. We don't always pass like Rabbi Shimon. When the other Tanaim are arguing with him, you know what I mean? But here, what's the interesting thing? That we don't find any Tanaim arguing with Rabbi Shimon. That's the whole thing.
I see.
Only Emoraim, right? So that's the whole question here. No, how do the Emoraim have the audacity to argue with Rabbi Shimon, who's a Tana? You understand?
So this opinion is in the Talmud.
What? No, this is the Zohar, Rabbi Shimon.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe they didn't see the
The
Zohar.
Talmud, both of them are brought. You understand? But Rabbi Shimon is not mentioned there.
Right. Right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's Kabbalah. It's something that Rabbi Shimon's received
This
separately
is not really Kabbalah. This is the opinion of Rabbi Shimon. You know what I mean? This is his opinion.
in the Zohar.
Yeah, but you know, Rabbi Shimon is Rabbi Shimon. You know, there's not Rabbi Shimon of the Kabbalah, Rabbi Shimon of the Pshat. He's the same guy. You know what I mean? It's one
But this
person.
But this is his opinion, or this is something he
That's his
received?
opinion. Yeah, that's his opinion. You understand?
Got it. So
So,
it's
yeah.
not a mystical kind of portion of what he wrote on the Zohar, right? It's not something that he received from
That's his
Eliyahu
opinion, you know?
Hanavi.
It doesn't matter. The Zohar is just a book, you know. I mean, after all, but that's his opinion. That's what he holds.
Oh, the Zohar? I thought he received all the knowledge from Eliyahu Hanavi.
I'm sorry. What was that again?
The Zohar? So the Rajba didn't receive it while he was in the cave from Eliyahu Hanavi?
Right. You're talking about the Kabbalah, but this is not Kabbalah. This is laws of Tefillin.
But he wrote it in the Zohar.
This is laws of Tefillin. You know what I mean?
Right.
What does that have to do with Kabbalah?
No, I'm just confused because you say it's written in the Zohar. His
It
opinion on
is.
Tefillin.
It is.
Oh, so he mixed it. He wrote
Huh?
he wrote his opinions and what he received both in the Zohar.
Well, you know, like you have to understand a few things here. Maybe you're not catching it, but there's halachot brought down in the Zohar. You understand? So this is one of them. So this is not the Kabbalah that he received in the cave.
Oh, it's not, but it's still in the Zohar.
Well, I need to
Isn't
say
it
this
because it
is
was
the halachic opinion.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
Or maybe you could say also another way, you know, that maybe these shitot, which are brought down in the Zohar, you know, maybe they're not his opinion. Maybe he got them in the cave. You know what I mean? And that's why the Amoraim didn't know.
Yeah,
They didn't learn it.
that's what I meant, Rabbi. Right? And that way we're saying we're overriding.
Okay, you know, there's a few possibilities, you know, so let's see where we go, right? I'm sorry, yeah, what were we saying?
I was just saying that probably when transcribe, something were added to it, and probably some halacha was added to the Zohar.
Well, this is, you know, in the name of Rabbi Shimon, you know what I mean? So it's Rabbi Shimon. So, okay, let's see where we go with this, right? So, the Talmud, so he says, but you know what it is? There's many times like this we find that Rabbi Shimon holds a certain way, but in the Talmud, that's not the conclusion of the Talmud. So now he tells, right? It says, Tama mishum de'afilu im hayu yode'im divrei Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Look what he says, right? He says, what's the reason why? Even if they knew what Rabbi Shimon said, these things, you know, even if they knew about it, they don't care when he's arguing with the Talmud. In other words, the Talmud has its own system, you know what I mean? And you know, as I said, we don't always paskin like Rabbi Shimon. You know, so what are you really wondering about? You know what I mean? Like you know, even if they knew about it, it could be that they didn't agree.
Right.
So it says the Palig Talmuda. Parshim leolam tzarich levarech shtayim. They hold you have to do two. Mashma lehu de behedya kama Talmuda. So it says that it's mashma to them that it implies to them that explicitly Talmud said hachi that like this. Therefore it says paskuk ken. That's how they paskin. Kol sheken shebimei poskim adayin lo nigla. Oh, look what it says, right? Exactly. All the more so because in the time of the poskim, lo nigla sefer al-ma'or kodesh v'olam. He says the Zohar wasn't revealed at that time. So what is he telling you over here, right? The Amoraim never really saw the Zohar. It was hidden. So they didn't know what Rabbi Shimon said, very possibly.
Right.
ספר בקדוש בעולם הזה, בעוד שאין המאמר ההוא מכריע, so he says also, another thing he says, which is that statement of Rabbi Shimon doesn't override, right, the halacha. שלא לברך אלא ברכה אחת, there was only one blessing. אפשר, דאיהו נמי סבר, could be that he also holds, לברך שתיים, he blessed two, ומה שכתב אף ברכה אחד, now what you said over here, only one blessing, the Tavayu, both of them, means to say the brachot aniach kai anami asher rosh. He meant to say that the aniach also goes on the head. Mishum hachi, he says because of that, and leafsik benehem, they shouldn't interrupt between them. Right? Interesting. So just to add, right, as a like the postscript over here a little bit, right? That the Arizal also says, right, according to Kabbalah, you have to put only one blessing. So right, he came back to it again, the Arizal. So in other words, it's very clear. He didn't see, as we said, right? Maran didn't see the works of the Arizal. So because over there it's very clear that we make only one blessing. So bottom line is like this, right? According to Kabbalah, there's one blessing, right? According to Halacha, it's a machloket between the Ashkenazim and Sfaradim. But the truth is, most of the Rishonim seem to go like the Sfaradim.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what it is. Okay, interesting. So, but the custom of the Ashkenazim is to make two blessings. That's very clear. Clear as day and night.
They're not afraid of doing a blessing in vain if there is a machloket.
You know what they say, right? There's a rule like this in Poskim that b'makom minhag lo omrim safek brachot le'akir. When there's a minhag, we don't say safek brachot le'akir. Because that's the custom, In other words, what business do you have to be so machmir more than your forefathers who already had this minhag? If they weren't machmir about that, why should you be machmir? You know what I mean? They didn't know these rules. So you can't come and say all of a sudden, after 500 years of having a minhag, to say, oh, safek brachot, what do you safek brachot? Your forefathers used to bless on this. What are you talking about?
But you're saying if it,
you know what I mean?
So really, if it truly is in vain, then Hashem forgives because it's a minhag was established.
Right? These are all words of the living God. So it's not really a blessing in vain, unless you go against your minhag, then it's already a problem. You know what I mean? That's already a problem. Then they're gonna tell you, well, wait, weren't you a Sephardi guy? You're supposed to go like the Rambam, no? Why are you going like Rabbeinu Tam? I mean, what's it your business?
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody's gonna be judged according to what they are.
I see.
That's what the Rabbi used to say, Allah Shalom. That was his okay. All right, very good. So it goes on to say, והרב Mari ibn Chaviv, this rabbi כתב ששמע מקובלים, he heard the מקובלים that say, שמצאו בספר הזוהר שאסור לברך שתיים. They found the Zohar, you're not allowed to bless two. There you go, right again. ושהראו לו רבים מהם אותם המאמרים וראה שאין בהם עזר כל כך לקיים מה שאומרים בשמם, כשמקובל אחד הראה לו מאמרים שאפשר לקיים מהם שראוי לברך שתיים, והוא ז"ל כתב שהיה נוהג לברך שתיים, דברי רבנו תם. So he says over here, right, that even though some say that according to Kabbalah, according to Zohar, you're supposed to do one, there's also other ones who say that you're supposed to do two according to Zohar. So, but as I said, according to the Arizal, it's very clear that it should be one. So, there you go, whatever it is. רבינו תם, ולהסיר עצמו מספק ברכה לבטלה, היה אומר, so he says, in order to save himself from ספק ברכות, אחר ברכה, ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. That's what he used to do, right? In order that he shouldn't see ברכה לבטלה. By the way, that's what the Ashkenazim do also. They say this, just to be on the safe side.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken. ואף על פי שאין משיבים את הארי, אין דבר הזה נראה בעיניי. So he says, you know what? He says, even though you really shouldn't argue with him after he passed away, but he says, it doesn't seem right in my eyes what he's saying. שיביא האדם עצמו לידי ספק ברכה לבטלה, the person should bring himself to ספק ברכה לבטלה, לסמוך על שאמר ברוך השם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. In other words, you can't do that לכתחילה, you know, to
Right.
make a ברכה לבטלה and then say, okay, I'll do ברוך השם כבוד מלכותו. That's only בדיעבד. מלכות ולומד, וכתב הר"ן, it says הר"ן בסוף ראש השנה, בשם הרזה, דהיינו, מה טעמה, so the reason is because דאמרינן סך בין תפילה לתפילה, that we say that if he spoke between one tefillin and the other, averahi biado, it's a sin. He shouldn't talk between them. Mishum de'al gav sheshte mitzvot, and even though they're the two mitzvot, kivan diktiv, since it's written betfillin shel yad b'shel rosh, since it's written like the head and the head, the rosh, v'haya lecha leot al yadecha, zikaron ben anecha, tzarich zechira. Therefore, you have to remember she'en tochef tefillah shel rosh, the tefillah shel yad. It should be one after the other, right? No delay. Therefore, it should be like one action to both of them, right? One series of action. So it says if he diverted his mind, he spoke, about things, other things, right? Then it's the same. So you have to bless also the bracha of the hand. You want to feel the tefillin of yad. מחזק את הקשר, and then tighten the knot, ועוד מברך ברכה שנייה, also to bless another ברכה, על של ראש ותוכב שתי מצוות, זו לזו, you have to put one mitzvah next to the other, עד כאן השנו, that's the end of it. והרשב"א כתב, says the רשב"א in התשובה, דיבר קצת הגאונים, like the גאונים, והריף, הדריף, שמעו שאין בברכים אלא ברכה אחת. He also says only one blessing. That I'll stand of both of them. I don't know Hagi. That's what I mean. Hagi says Ad Kan V'chen Halachal. So it says Maran. This is the halacha, right? The halacha is Me'achar she'arif ve'arambam maskimim v'bach v'chach. Since the Rif and the Rambam agree, Kol sheken she'Rashi v'Rashba sovim ken. All the more so the Rashi and Rashba also agree. Right? V'chen nahagu ha'olam. So that's the minhag she'lo levarech ela bracha echad levad. They only do one blessing, right? But he didn't maybe know, right, that the Ashkenazim do two. So he just brought the Sfari minhag basically. We're going to see in the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah, he brings down also the Ashkenazi minhag. Okay, so let's go to the Shulchan Aruch and we'll finish with that. Yeah, so it says in the Shulchan Aruch like this. Yichavem ben hachatan. No, this is not the one. No. Right. So the truth is, in order to do the Shulchan Aruch, we have to do a little bit more from the Torah. I'm going to go back to the Torah for a second. Right, so I'm reading the Torah. It says like this. Last line. So you have to have also a certain intention over here, right? Hashem commanded us, right? When you put on the tefillin, to put these 4 parchments, right? they include there the sheyesh b'hem yichud hashemo, the singularity of God, right? The singularity of His name, oneness of His name. Yetziat Mitzrayim, and also going out of Egypt. Al hazroa, on the arm, keneged halev, on next to the heart. Ve'al rosh, also on the head, keneged hamoach, next to the brain. Kadesh and Yizkora Yetziat Mitzrayim, in order that we should remember going out of Egypt. Al-yedei nesachim nisim niflaot, by way of miracles and wonders. She'asai imanu, that Hashem did for us. Shehem morim al yichudo, that they testify about His oneness. Shehu yachid ba'olamo, that He's one in the world. V'asher lo hakoach, this is what you have to concentrate on this before when you put it on. This has to be your kavanah, your intention. V'asher lo hakoach v'hamshala, and He also has the strength and the rulership, right? Ba'alyonim, in the upper worlds, v'tachlim, in the lower worlds. Lasot b'hem, to know whatever He wants to do with them, to do whatever He wants with them. V'yaniach shel yad tchila, if we should put first, right? So that's what we need to read. Now going back to the Shulchan Aruch. We need to read that before we do the Shulchan Aruch. Okay. So says Shulchan Aruch, right? Again, same thing. You should have intention when you put them. Hashem commanded us to place these 4 parchments, these 4 portions, which have the oneness of His name, with Yetziat Mitzrayim and the going out of Egypt. On the arm, right next to the heart, and on the head, next to the brain, Kadesh Yizkor and Nisim Niflaot. Know that we should remember miracles and wonders She'asai imanu, that He did for us. Shehem morim al yichudo, that they testify about His oneness. Ve'asher lo hakoach and He has the strength and power, ba'alyonim, in the upper worlds, the tachlim, lower worlds, shalot ben kitzono, to do them with as He wishes. V'ishtabed leKadosh Baruch Hu and neshama, you have to subjugate your soul to, right, your soul, she'ib and moach, which is in the brains, and also in the heart, which is a place of the lusts and desires. So it says, by way of having this intention, you're gonna remember your Creator and diminish your lusts. And you have to put the hand one first. You bless the Tefillin. You put on the head. So it says Maran, you have to put one blessing for both of them, right? So now comes the Rama, the Agar, right? Some say to put also Al Mitzvot Tefillin on the head. Even though he didn't interrupt. So he says that's the way the Ashkenazim do. He do 2 blessings. But Tov Lomar, good to say, Tamid in the end, right? After the second blessing, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Olam Habed, right? So it's good to say that, just in case there shouldn't be a bracha batala. Very good. So that's the story, right? Okay, I guess we'll stop there. That's beautiful. Very nice. Okay, thanks everybody for coming tonight. God bless you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Be well, be healthy, be blessed.
Amen.
And most important thing is be sameach, be happy.
Thank you.
Do tomorrow. All the best. We'll try to do it earlier tomorrow. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.